Mitsubishi A6M Zero was one of the most famous and feared fighter aircraft of World War II, representing the pinnacle of Japanese military aviation during the early years of the conflict. Known for its exceptional maneuverability and long range, the Zero was a revolutionary design when it was introduced and played a significant role in Japan's early wartime successes in the Pacific. However, its dominance was short-lived, as technological advancements by the Allies soon rendered it vulnerable. Nonetheless, the A6M Zero remains one of the most iconic aircraft of World War II, symbolizing both the strengths and weaknesses of Japanese aviation strategy during the war. The A6M Zero was developed by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries under the leadership of chief designer Jiro Horikoshi. The design emerged in response to a 1937 Imperial Japanese Navy specification for a carrier-based fighter that could outperform any potential enemy aircraft. The aircraft needed to be extremely light, have excellent maneuverability, and possess a significant range to match Japan's strategy of long-range naval engagements. The Zero's first flight took place in 1939, and it entered service in 1940. The aircraft's formal designation was A6M, with A signifying it was a carrier-based fighter, 6 denoting it as the sixth model in its series, and M indicating it was built by Mitsubishi. The name Zero comes from the aircraft's official designation as the Navy Type Zero carrier fighter, marking the year of its introduction in the Japanese calendar year 2600, 1940 in the Gregorian calendar. The A6M Zero was powered by a Nakayamasake radial engine, which gave it enough speed, up to 330 miles per hour, to outpace most contemporary fighters. What truly set the Zero apart, however, was its agility. The designers sacrificed armor and self-sealing fuel tanks to keep the aircraft as light as possible, allowing it to achieve unparalleled maneuverability. This lack of protection made the Zero vulnerable, but it wasn't initially a major drawback due to its overwhelming offensive capabilities. The aircraft was armed with two 7.7mm Type 97 machine guns and two 20mm Type 99 cannons, providing it with considerable firepower compared to most other fighters of its time. Its long range, almost 1,600 miles with auxiliary fuel tanks, allowed it to participate in extended missions, making it a perfect fit for Japan's naval operations across the vast distances of the Pacific. The A6M Zero played a central role in Japan's air operations during World War II, particularly in the early years of the conflict. It made its combat debut during the Second Sino-Japanese War and was used extensively during the Japanese invasions of Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands. The aircraft gained worldwide notoriety following the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, where it provided air cover for the Japanese fleet and contributed to the destruction of American aircraft and ships. One of the Zero's most significant contributions came during the Battle of Coral Sea and the Battle of Midway in 1942, where it initially outclassed American aircraft. At the time, it was considered the most dangerous dogfighter in the skies, easily outperforming American fighters like the P-40 Warhawk and the F-4F Wildcat in terms of agility. However, by 1943, the Zero's dominance began to wane. The introduction of new, more advanced Allied aircraft, such as the F-6F Hellcat and F-4U Corsair, as well as the development of better tactics for combating the Zero's weaknesses, shifted the balance of air power in favor of the Allies. The Hellcat and Corsair were faster, more heavily armored, and could absorb far more damage than the lightly built Zero. Allied pilots learned to exploit the Zero's lack of armor and fuel tank protection by engaging it in high-speed hit-and-run attacks rather than traditional dogfighting. Despite its eventual shortcomings, the A6M Zero was produced in large numbers throughout the war. Between 1940 and 1945, approximately 10,939 Zeros were built. It was produced in several variants, the most famous of which was the A6M2, used during the early war years, and the A6M5, which featured improvements like thicker armor and a more powerful engine to counter Allied advancements. The A6M5, introduced in 1943, had a maximum speed of around 351 miles per hour and featured improved exhaust systems for better speed and climb performance. However, these modifications were not enough to keep up with the rapidly advancing technology of the Allies. Another notable variant was the A6M3, which had a shorter range but slightly improved performance. It was used in some of the later battles of the Pacific War, including Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima, though by this time the Zero was already outclassed. In the early years of World War II, the A6M Zero was phenomenally successful. It dominated the skies over the Pacific and Southeast Asia, allowing Japan to establish air superiority in key battles. The Zero was critical in supporting the Japanese Navy's island-hopping campaigns and gave Japan a significant tactical advantage in the air. However, the very qualities that made the Zero so formidable in the beginning, its lightweight and lack of armor, became its greatest weaknesses. Its success was short-lived due to design limitations and the eventual arrival of superior Allied aircraft. Nonetheless, the Zero's reputation as a formidable fighter endures as a symbol of Japan's air power during the war.